Tuesday, August 6, 2019, two unknown male suspects committed an aggravated home invasion robbery in the city of Hedwig Village at a residence. The suspects tied up the occupant of the house and held her at gunpoint while they ransacked the house. The items stolen from this home invasion robbery included 40 very rare and expensive Hermes purses, men's and women's Hermes shoes, approximately $400,000 in cash, mostly U.S. currency, jewelries and watches, a unique, very rare jade bangle, which is kind of like a bracelet that women wear, and some expensive Chinese tea. The suspects, what we learned from the victims, they're covered from head to toe in dark colored clothing. They wore masks and ball caps, so they're entirely covered up. Based on based on what the victim has told us, the victim believes that the suspects were Hispanic males. That's her deducing from the cadence of their speech and the rhythm of their speech. She believes that they're Hispanic. Two male suspects, like I said, one is a little bit slimmer than the other one. They're both about 5'6" to 5'8". The homeowner is offering up to $50,000, a reward up to $50,000 to anyone with information leading to the recovery of the stolen items and the charging or arrest of the suspects. Do you have any questions?
Is there any reason to believe that other people living in the area should be on the lookout, or could you talk a little bit about that?
No, sir. We believe that these particular victims were targeted, that this is an isolated home invasion.
So when you say targeted, like they knew each other, or they just kind of
It's possible that they knew each other, or that they has picked out these victims and followed them home.
There was a home invasion, I think, a few days earlier. I'm not sure, on Rivercrest. Do you know anything about that? I mean, is that connected at all?
I know very little about it. Actually, I just we found out earlier this morning. There's very little details on that one. I know the victim for that case kind of wants to stay out of the limelight on that one. There are some similarities between the two cases.
Can you describe the similarities?
We both know, we know that in both cases the suspects were wearing dark colored clothing, covered from head to toe, wearing masks. They appear to be targeting members of the Asian community.
So that other one was Asian family as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Were there two suspects in that case too?
I believe there's only one suspect in that case.
Do you have an amount on the valuables that were stolen in that case?
On the amount of valuables, it's a little bit hard to gauge. We know it's at least $6 million.
The second one?
In our case, yes. And it could be quite a bit more. They're trying to tally up all the different items that were stolen.
And so do they have insurance? How are they coming up with this dollar amount?
That's just based on the victim's knowledge of her own assets that she has in her house.
How old is this people that were victims of the robbery?
There's actually quite a few people living in the house. The range is 30s to mid 50s.
And the victim was about how old?
The victim that was tied up.
The person who was tied up, sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. So the victim that was tied up, she was in her 50s.
And is she a mother, an aunt? What's her connection?
Yes, she's a relative of the homeowners.
So she was by herself during that?
Yes, that's correct.
$6 million, that's a lot of money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you ever had to deal with anything like that before here?
No, specifically no.
How unusual is that type of crime, that dollar figure in a place like this?
It's not common, but I don't know what each person has in their households. It's possible that other people have a lot of items in their house as well.
Did the homeowner say if they've had workers come in recently to do work on the house?
Yes, we have been exploring different people that have been by the house.
Do they have cameras or anything like that?
No, they do not have cameras.
do you have any surveillance images from any other cameras?
No, we do not.
So whenever she says that they're Hispanic, were they speaking Spanish, or like how did she come up with the idea that they were Hispanic?
The victim herself was not sure at first, being that she's not from here. She's from overseas. She said that, now that she's had some time to process it and just kind of watching various television programs, she's able to deduce that based on their speech patterns, that is most likely Hispanics.
So they were not speaking English at all?
Uh,
They were speaking other language?
The victim herself doesn't speak English.
Oh,
Well,
she does?
did she
Mhm.
say if they were speaking English? Was it an accent or a
Yeah,
language she
she
heard?
didn't know.
So not
yeah,
really
she couldn't
super
recognize-
reliable.
Well, I'm sorry, she's not familiar with the languages spoken here. But like I said, after she has some time to process it, watching various TV shows, she's able to kind of tell from different languages being spoken on TV that she believes is Hispanic.
But then how reliable is that, that she doesn't speak at all English, or she doesn't even know how Spanish speaks, so how do you
Uh-huh.
guys consider that they could be Hispanic?
Well, like I said, it's a belief on the victim's part. We're definitely exploring everybody here.
What is your message to the community, knowing that there's no suspects in custody, there's no surveillance, and
Mhm.
it's possible that two might be connected?
Well, our message is that we are working on it. Any information about these items would be extremely helpful to us. If anybody out there has any information about, whether it is the item stolen or any persons that they believe could have something to do with this crime, that would greatly help us.
You mentioned expensive tea. You mentioned-
Yes.
How much is this expensive tea that we're talking about?
We're not quite sure on a dollar amount, but it's just very rare Chinese tea,
Do you have a?
pu'er tea.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
If you, do you wanna repeat that so we?
It's pu'er tea, P-U-U-R-H.
Okay.
And do you have like an itemized, number of this kind of bags, this kind of?
We have approximately 40 bags. We are still trying to ascertain with the homeowners, about the specifics on those.
And you said the clothing was just different items of clothing as well?
Yes, yeah.
Have there been any other incidents at this particular home recently?
No, we've
At
had
all?
no other
No
incidents.
other incidents.
Mhm.
In your expertise, what would they do with that kind of stuff?
I have no idea. They would, my assumption is that they would try to sell it somewhere.
Does the victim live here full-time?
Yes.
So, you said $400,000 cash.
Mm.
I'm assuming it's in a safe, I can't imagine it's out, so did they have to go through her to get the combination, or?
No, as far as we know, the victim did not have a safe.
So the cash was just out, or they ransacked the place according to the press
They
release?
ransacked the place, yes. They went through every crevice you can imagine in the place.
Could you walk through again the actual home invasion, like the time of day? You said she was home alone.
Yes.
Did they come in with guns, like?
Early morning hours, the two suspects came in, they had a gun. They tackled the victim to the ground. They pointed a gun at her, held her in place, while the others, they took turns ransacking the place.
And how was she able to get away?
Actually, right before the suspects left, they actually cut her feet loose. And, after some time passed, she kind of figured that they had left, so she went to go check, and sure enough, they had left.
I'm assuming you guys have interviewed her or spoken to her.
Yes.
How did she describe that experience?
Oh, it was terrifying for her. She wasn't able really to talk to us too much. I mean, she was so shaken up by it. So we talked mostly through her relatives, and even as late as just a couple of days ago when I spoke to them, she's still shaken up about it. She can't sleep at night.
Now, so whenever these guys went inside the house, they knew where everything was, or were they having some issues finding the cash and everything like
At this time, it didn't seem like they knew exactly where everything was. They just ransacked the entire house. I mean, they went upstairs, downstairs, through all the bedrooms.
But it has to be somebody that actually was in the house before, right? Because to know that they have that kind of,
It's a possibility. Hmm.
Do you have pictures of any of the things that were taken?
No, we don't have any particular pictures because, like I said, these items were quite rare. So we're real limited on that kind of information.
And there's enough stuff that could fit in the car, and they just parked up front, just load it up?
Now that's another thing. The victim didn't see whether or not there was a car. She said by the time she went out looking through the window, they had already taken off. But she did believe that they were making multiple trips to some kind of vehicle outside.
So about how long did this whole thing last?
The whole thing lasted anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Mm-hmm.
Did she wait some time though before, did she call 911, did she call her family?
She, because of her limited English, she actually reached out to a neighbor, and the kind neighbor actually helped us out, or helped her out rather.
You don't have a copy of those calls that we could use, do you?
I will look into that, and I will get back with you on that. Okay.
it's gonna be hard for the guys to sell all kind of stuff, right?
What we've learned from speaking to some of these shops, these boutique shops, yeah, it could prove a little difficult to get rid of some of this stuff.
Have you advised pawn shops around the area about it?
Yes. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's it.